I've been waiting 20 years to create this message. And there are three things here that I want to talk about. One is about the documentary itself and about this YouTube channel. The second thing is about the people who were dedicated and committed to telling the story, who came together to create the documentary. And the third thing is a direction that I feel very compelled to go into in telling more of this story. This channel went up a few years ago. I don't remember the exact date. I'd say 10 to 15 years ago, and there's been a number of people who have subscribed to this channel. There have also been a number of people who have left derogatory comments, hateful comments, vitriol, spite, that kind of thing. And I have to say that, gosh, this documentary is about hate. It's about a conflict. It's about vitriol that compelled people to do things that they wouldn't normally do. So in a renewed commitment and effort to get the story out there, I am going to moderate all the comments that come up. And if you have anything that is anti-Fancher, anti-Baker, anti-immigrants, anti-Mormon, anti-John D. Lee, anti-anybody, I'm going to remove the comments, okay? This is no place for that kind of vitriol. Instead, we need to tell the story. There have been a number of influences on this story in the general media, from Hell on Wheels and their depiction of what happened here as far as Utah is concerned and the settling of this territory, to American Primeval, which had a very interesting take on what had happened at the Mountain Meadow. Even though they never called it out by name, if you knew anything about the story, you knew what they were referencing. And there have been others as well, and there are countless others on YouTube, attempts to go through and tell different versions of the story. Well, it's time to get beyond maybe some of those feelings and those predispositions, maybe even prejudices, to go through and dig a little deeper. Chances are you've seen the documentary if you subscribe to the channel, but if you haven't, I would urge you to watch it. And I would urge you to watch it all the way through, right to the end of the credits, because first off, there's a wonderful song that was written by Sam Payne, Marvin Payne's son, who Marvin Payne is the narrator on the documentary. And it is a heartfelt and I think a very apt description of the feelings that are conjured up here, the feelings that exist here. But not just for the song, I want you to watch it for the names in the credits that come up. This documentary was a student production. I produced a documentary for my graduate work on the Mountain Meadows Massacre back in 1989. And that script made its way into the film program that I ended up teaching at Dixie State College back in the day. And as I told the story to the students in that program, all of them embraced it, and not just for the grade, not just for the class, but to go through and tell a story that needed to find air. And this was at a time when there was a lot of commotion going on out here. I mean, there always is, but at this time, there was a lot having to do with the LDS Church, with the Mountain Meadows Massacre Association, asking somebody to take some culpability with what was going on out here. The new memoriam monument, the Overlook, which is where I'm at here, was erected and dedicated by the Mormon Church. There were a lot of things happening there. It's a story that will never go away. I was first introduced to the story of the Mountain Meadows Massacre in 1980 by my history teacher at Dixie Junior College. His name was Carl Brooks. And Carl happens to be the son of Juanita Brooks, who at the time wrote really the definitive work on the Mountain Meadows Massacre. Now, there's been a lot of water under that bridge. A lot of time has passed since I did my initial research on the massacre using Juanita's research and then going out into the community and trying to find more and to validate a lot of the assertions that she made there. 10 years later, then, I offered the script to my film students, and they all committed to going through and telling the story. The documentary itself is broken down into 3 parts, and I assigned a student producer for every part. And they went through and found the historians and found the narrative that you see within the documentary. And then I had another producer who went through and was in charge of production for all the recreations, for the recreation of the massacre itself, which we approached with great reverence, and then the recreation of the execution of John D. Lee, which we also approached with great reverence. So it's important that you see those names, that you see the names like Jan Walker and Dave Chase and Lorinda Wenzel and Jason DeVilliers. Jason really is the backbone of this documentary. He's the one who had the vision of its style, of its art direction. He's the one who edited this and then became a line producer with this. And really it's his baby more than, well, he had a lot to do with this. And then Demetrius Graham, who was the director of the recreations, which was no small feat to do. And then all the other names that you see there, the film crew that came out here. Well, we didn't come out here. We shot the recreation sequences out on Tocqueville. We did shoot the narrative sequences with the great Marvin Payne here because we felt that it needed to have that context. Marvin needed to feel that context of the story. But there was a lot that went into this. It wasn't taken lightly by anybody. And for someone to watch this and dismiss it, or maybe not even watch it in its entirety, is doing not necessarily the documentary a disservice, but it's doing the story itself. It's doing what remains here a disservice. The third thing that I wanted to bring up is that I am going to pursue more research and produce more material on the story. In the documentary itself, St. George area's greatest historian, Lyman Hafen, talks about the families. And if there's any one thing that the documentary does not do, that it fails to do, and that's on my part, not on anybody else's, it fails to tell the stories of the families who lost their lives here. The Dunlaps, the Bakers, the Fanchers, the Tacketts, and more. And then the surviving children, and there's so many stories. So I want to go through and dig in deep and find original source material to go through and tell the stories of these families. What drove them? What got them here? What were their aspirations and hopes? I mean, we can all guess what they were, but I think it would do us well to find that out for sure, to see what was going on. I'm not doing that alone. I have another researcher with me who will go through and lend an entirely different insight to the story than what I'm bringing to that, and for which I'm very grateful. So we're going to try to make it to Arkansas and to Missouri and to dig deep into those families' histories, permission granted if we can do that. And in doing so, I'm hoping to create segments that I'm going to post on this channel that will give you, the viewer, more background into the families, the victims here that were taken in this area. I don't do this lightly. I don't do it for gain. I do it to tell the story. But we will need some help. I am putting up a fundraising campaign to help pay for travel costs and lodging, that kind of thing. Production is not inexpensive by any means, but now versus what we shot 25 years ago, now we have the means to do this with a cell phone and with a consumer grade microphone and tripods and things that are a lot less expensive. The main costs involved now in this kind of production is just getting there, getting the story. I appreciate your dedication to the story. If you're watching this, you would have to be dedicated. If you watch the documentary, you would have to be dedicated. Well, I want to take you beyond that. I want to take you beyond the story that's told there and the story that's been told in new books that have come out and new media and questionable media as well. I want this to be a source of truth, a source of valid sources to go through and tell these stories. Thanks for watching.